Framed by R.P. Fitton. Chapter 1. Murder followed Gordon Butts like the speckled bird circling in the seaside fog. After so many years of trailing the elusive Mr. Butts, Garrity received a priority email from Butts himself. Team leader, Maureen Garrity. Task Force Murder. 432 Route 16, West Leavenworth, New Jersey, 0700. Garrity pushed back her blonde hair and picked up her cell. Judith, I want everyone in my office. Gordon Butts has just sent me an email.
Arbanez is still in Paramus.
Then get his ass back here. You tell him Gordon Butts has contacted us. Wait, this is an MP4 video file.
I thought you said that Butts was off the radar after all this time.
Apparently not, said Garrity as she lit a cigarette. Why would he send us a video file? Hey, what's up, Mo? Asked Garrett, moving his large frame through the door. His hair had grown out in the afro style from years ago. Planning on going disco dancing, Garrett? I was born in the 70s. He leaned toward the screen and tightened his dark-skinned brow. Gordon Butts, I thought we gave up on this one. We did. He looked into Garrity's eyes. Adams and Danny ran in from the front office. Judy said Butts emailed something to you? Said Danny in his white shirt and tie. It's Friday, Dan. Shed the tie. I think he sleeps in it, said the dark-eyed Joy Adams. Where's one? Garrity held the cigarette between her fingers and let it smolder. He'll be coming down from Paramus. Come on, Maureen, said Joy Adams. Let's not wait for Juan. What the hell could Gordon Butts want with us? Oh, he's arrogant, said Garrett. Somehow he's got to rub it all in our collective faces. My gut says no, said Garrity. By all rights, we never should have heard from Butts again. That wouldn't break my heart, the bastard, said Danny. Garrity stared at the attached file. What's this all about? How great thou art, the Gordon Butts story, said Garrett, and they all laughed. Well, let's see what's on this video. A large MP4 file, several hundred gigabytes, showed up on the screen. Do we really want to see a video of Gordon Butts? Asked Joy. This guy is sleazy. Well, this is very odd, said Garrity, pushing back her long blonde hair. Sent just this afternoon. She clicked on the file. The music player filled with snow and static for a few moments. A disheveled Gordon Butts, his dark, thinning hair pushed straight back, his yellow striped tie draped over his wrinkled white shirt, sat on an empty apartment's wood floorboards. Under half-open milky Venetian blinds, a gray plastic answering machine placed on a dull metal radiator flashed red with messages. Garrity let the cigarette burn. Hello, Garrity. You tell your team I'm ready to talk about the murders now. It may take a while, but I'm trapped. Garrity froze the video on the monitor. As team leader, she had publicly stated that the Butts case was closed. What is it, a trick, Mo? Asked Garrett. Garrity's mouth remained open for several seconds. Why in the world would Gordon Butts confess to anything after all this time? Butts was the consummate optimist, said Joy. Yeah, exactly. She clicked on the file and the video started again. He looks like God's wrath, said Garrett. Lucky Juan isn't here. He hates Butts. Butts strained to keep his dark eye slits open. Garrity had not seen him in a couple of months and thought Butts looked ill. In his shaky right hand, Butts gripped a silver microphone, probably connected to the video camera. In his other hand, he pinched a smoldering cigarette. Garrity believed that Butts had gotten away with murder. She pushed the play button again, and Butts's image became alive. I walked into Walter Thornton's second-floor office in August of 2010. I had done a lot of selling and was what you might call a top gun, but I never sold plumbing supplies. After the crash, I needed a change. Thornton was a big guy, kind of clumsy. He had a buck-tooth smile and worked long hours and made more money than he knew about. He made you feel like you were important. Same type of deal you do every day in sales, except Walter Thornton's attitude was genuine. Poured me a tall glass of water, popped in the ice cubes, and wanted to know whom I had sold to and what kind of track record I had. If I hadn't listened to my friend Tom Cowles, I wouldn't be in the trouble I'm in now. Tom moonlighted as an auditor and an accountant, and heard about the Thornton job through the grapevine. When Tom wrote Walter Thornton's name and number on the napkin over beer one night, I thought I might have a chance to make more money. I was selling good, but not getting rich. I was 25 years old, ambitious and ready to advance my career. Take a look at me now. I haven't slept. I'm losing weight, and I'll be dead soon. They're all gone now, Garrity. They did this to me. They all framed me. Walter Thornton listened real close as I exaggerated my lackluster job selling machine tools and parts to small shops all over New Jersey. I had the job since I got out of the service. What I didn't tell him is how I blew up at the son of a bitch who called himself a sales manager. The little Napoleon Norman Slavitz. I didn't tell Walter Thornton how I got myself fired. In his Long Island warehouse, Walter Thornton had a birch-paneled second-floor office with a cushioned white rug. He had a huge monitor, DVD system, probably for sales meetings, and he sat on a glossy conference table near the open front window span. The place reeked of cheap cologne. I studied the 2 rows of plumbing and heating supply books filling the wall shelves behind his desk. He sat in his high-back chair, leather chair, stroked his chin as I crafted my story. It was odd, Garrity. As I sipped on the water, I felt like I already had the job. I didn't need to detail sales quotas, budgets, and figures. Walter Thornton nodded. Occasionally, he pushed the remaining strands of his straw hair over his rounded head. He'd look at me with those sad cow eyes, shook his jowls as he nodded and scratched notes on a yellow pad. I wondered as I sat there why I had spent 3 years busting my hump in a job that paid next to nothing, was going nowhere. That's probably why I lost it with Slavitz. Oh, I added some fiction to my account. You don't get sent to jail for lying in a job interview. I took Walter Thornton all the way in just a half an hour. He stood behind his wide, polished wooden desk, placed his oversized hands on the blotter, and said, "Well, I want you to work for me, Butts. You're the type of man I could use in my organization." Being self-assured and cocky, I reclined in the soft chair, pressed my lips for a few seconds before I looked back at him. "Well, I'll have to think about it, Mr. Thornton," I said, even though I know I needed the job and was essentially broke. Stunned, Walter Thornton looked at me twice in quick, successive glances, and then blabbed about paying me more salary than I had made at Crowley Fastener Machine Parts. I let him sweat, and he did sweat. He seemed very nervous and breathed in short bursts as he spoke. But I had him thinking the best salesman on the East Coast was sitting back with his legs crossed, debating whether to accept his job offer. He excused himself for a moment and walked into a private bathroom. Through the cracked door, I saw him remove a small brass case and then press something under his tongue. Walter Thornton had heart problems. When he returned to the office, I upped the stakes. "Listen, Mr. Thornton," I said, "I really want to work for you, but frankly, I don't know what kind of future I'd have here. Is your business just growing flat?" "Growing, Butts, growing! We don't just sell supplies here, we sell contracts, heating and air conditioning contracts. I have another warehouse in Central Jersey. I don't think you know where I live. Do you know where I live?" "No, sir," I lied, but I did know where he lived. When Tom told me about the job, I had driven my clunker near the gates of his Tanglewood mansion on Long Island. I couldn't even see past the ivy walls from my car, but I got out, propped myself up, and gazed across the most extensive grounds I had ever seen. They had more guys in there than the Yankee Stadium ground crew, keeping the place looking good. I wanted a part of it. Maybe I'd just take the pool house. I wanted to break out of that dump where I'd been living at the Bryant in Crane's Beach for over 3 years. "Where do you live, Mr. Thornton?" "Have you ever heard of Tanglewood, Mr. Butts?" No, sir," I answered, playing dumb because I knew I had this fish hooked and was about to reel him in. "Tanglewood, Mr. Butts, is an exclusive community on Long Island. It's private and very wealthy. And I am a wealthy man. I can't even tell you what I'm worth. I'll leave that for my wife to figure out." I'd seen the wife, Garrity. She'd been by the pool the day I climbed over the top and peered across the grounds. She was at least 10 years younger than Walter Thornton. Back then she had short, auburn hair and wore a bright green string bikini. I wouldn't call her a looker, but I don't take my eyes off any woman walking around nearly bare-ass. I thought she was flat-chested, but she didn't mind taking off her top when she stretched out on the pool lounger. Connie, my wife, she does the books. Always has, ever since I took over the business from my father. And I could see the rest coming. The guy had no kids and was probably looking for someone to take under his wing. Well, it sounds like your father worked hard for the business. Oh, you bet he did. I wasn't thinking of my ass then, having wished I had scaled the wall a few weeks back and slithered my way to his wife lying on her stomach next to the pool. You know, people don't understand that it's hard work that brings results. Things don't just come to you on a silver platter. That's exactly right. When my father died, how did he die, Mr. Thornton? Heart attack. Massive heart attack. I'm sorry. No, he said, motioning with his hands. It happened real quick. Dad felt no pain. Sometimes that's the best way to go, I said. Walter Thornton had deep feelings for his father, but I didn't give a damn. I wanted the job. I wanted a chance to leave Crane's Beach and aspire to the Tanglewood lifestyle. Listen, Gordon, I want you to work for me. You can start on Monday. I'll bring you through New Jersey myself. Give me a chance to get out of this prison and meet some of my old accounts. I looked at him and nodded, but I had to wonder just how much time he spent in this office, his prison, like the little puppy dog running up to his master after a long day's work. I stood and my hand was enveloped by his larger mitt. Mr. Thornton, I would be honored to work for Thornton Plumbing and Supply.